DeMeco Ryans. We haven't talked about him a lot. It's been very much quarterback centric, and any other questions or newcomers or whatever been pushed to the back burner. So let's bring up DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco, you're very important this year. So win now team, they've brought back a lot of veterans, and they've made a big win now move to move up to number 3. Is he up to the task? What do we expect from him this year? And where could he excel right out of the gate? And where might his growing pains express themselves? I don't know who goes first. Jack, you're up.
I'll go. I think the thing with Ryans, I think he's going to be okay. But because, when you look at it, they kept a lot of their defensive staff intact. As far as, Chris Kocurek is going to be back. He was key with the defensive line, and that really kind of drove the defense anyway. And on top of that, they brought in some other guys that have experience as being coordinators. So he's got a staff around him that's experienced. And so if he can take their information and extrapolate that onto and be able to turn that into what he's doing on a regular basis, I think they're going to be okay. It might be a little bit of a slow start, but I'd say probably by the middle of the season, he should be able to hit his rhythm.
I think one added thing to DeMeco Ryans is it kind of depends on who the quarterback is, at least for the defensive coordinator. I know they obviously don't coach him, but if you have a rookie quarterback that maybe makes more or takes more risks and it doesn't always receive the reward, then the defensive coordinator is thrown into that emergency mode of having to protect 35 yards before the end zone, and that puts a young guy in a tough situation. So having James Betcher and Chris Kocurek does help, like Jack said. But if they go Mac Jones and Jimmy Garoppolo, I think that does help DeMeco Ryans in a way because they take less risks, but also Justin Fields takes more risk and could help out the offense in that way. But anyways, I'll stop talking about the quarterbacks. I just haven't been on in 2 weeks, so I haven't got to say anything about quarterbacks.
Great to see you, man.
Yeah. But I think DeMeco Ryans does have the chance to do well because he has Fred Warner. He has 2 very solid veteran safeties in Jaquaski Tart and Jimmy Ward. And K'Wan Williams back playing nickel. He has a lot of good veterans that know what they're doing, and I think that helps him. It would be much harder if it was a very young defense, inexperienced defense, but he has a lot of players that know what they're doing on the field, and that helps him, and good assistance.
That's a good point.
Yeah, see, I'm looking at all of those people coming back in a different way. I think the team has told us what they think of DeMeco Ryans, or the players at least, for coming back. They're coming back on one-year deals, which means they are looking to get paid next year, which means they're looking to be part of a defense that they could showcase themselves, and a defense that's going to be good so they could get top dollar. And all of these players had an option to go with Saleh because the Jets had money, and they could have done the one-year deal with the Jets if they believe that, Saleh is that much better than DeMeco Ryans. And that's the way I'm looking at it. I look at DeMeco Ryans, the type of player he was. He was always, one of the top linebackers in tackling. He was always somebody that, was around the ball at the right place at the right time, the quarterback of his defenses. And I think that same ability to, know where everybody is, be the center of the defense, and be able to show the leadership that he's shown as far as the leader of men. I'm really excited about him. I don't think he's going to struggle. I actually think it's going to be a pleasant surprise for most 49er fans how intact the defense looks, how good they're going to be out of the gate. And like I said, I think all of these players really believe in him too, because they chose to come back and basically betting on him and this defense to be good to make their money in the future. And I think that's a big boost in his, back pocket as far as these guys believe in him enough to choose the Niners over, going with Saleh and the Jets.
Good point. I think the Niners also felt so confident in promoting DeMeco Ryans. I think they feel that he has a lot in common with Saleh, that he was a linebacker coach. He's passionate yet positive. He has that kind of positive Pete Carroll, Robert Saleh vibe, Gus Bradley type of thing going on. So I think the comparison is pretty one-to-one right there. And so knowing what I know about how Robert Saleh did in 4 years, he was much better at the end than he was at the beginning. The way he started out, he was very much into establishing his system. And his game plans week to week weren't as opponent specific as they were by the end of his tenure. And his halftime adjustments weren't as good as they were by the end of his tenure. So I think that's where DeMeco Ryans could struggle at first. He does have some former coordinators helping him, but I'd be curious to see just how good are his game plans, how good are his adjustments. He has a very good defense intact with veterans and a philosophy and a system, but Saleh really took it to the next level last year with just how much it could change week to week. And I'm curious to see if Ryans is there yet. That's my question. What do you guys think?
Well, one thing on that when you look at that is when Saleh came in, they were taking over from a defense that was absolutely horrible. So they were having to build that whole thing up from the ground up. They were going from a 3-4 to a 4-3. There was a bunch of changes. So, it makes sense kind of the way that he did it, getting the basics in and then kind of building off of that. He got a good foundation year one. And then as the years went on, he was able to start to expand and they got players around it. And now you got Ryan stepping in, and Ryan's has the foundation already laid for him. So he's able to kind of build off of, story one's already done. He's building the second floor now of this defense. Let's see how he can do.
Great point. Like, it's not like it's like the difference between Bill Walsh's task in 1979 and George Seifert task in 1989. It was not exactly the same, job. Yeah. More like a caretaker than a builder. So good point. All right.
And I think DeMeco Ryans is just he was a very, very smart player when he was playing, and he was playing, middle linebacker. So that's the position that does all the adjustments. So I really think he's going to just thrive, and I don't think there's going to be much of a dip when it comes to the defense under his leadership.
Plus, he went to Alabama, which is the same school that Mac Jones and Najee Harris went to. So I think we know who the Niners are taking with their first pick. We figured it out.
Same school as Reuben Foster also.
Yeah, and that was a great pick.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It would have been a great pick if it wasn't for a couple of things here and there. Anyway, can't write them all off because of that, or can you? They haven't taken an Alabama player since then, have they?
No, I don't think so.
There was a defensive back that they brought in last year that you were
Maiden.
Yeah, there you go.
See, they're dipping their toe in with this little. All right. Thanks everyone for watching the roundtable today. Thanks Suneil for joining it. Jack and Mav. Mav has been a while. Again, if you don't know about Mav, he works for the Sacramento River Cats. Watching Scott Kazmir. How's he looking these days, man?
He gave up a couple runs yesterday, but fans are allowed, so that's cool.
That's what's up. You see how he tiptoed around that? You work for the River Cats. You can't give that same type of Mav analysis that he does for the Niners. But hey, Mav, it's great to see you. Everyone, it's great to see you. Thanks for watching today. We'll be back soon.